Okay, we should be up on Twitch. Hello, Twitch world. Fred in chat.
Wait, I'm hearing an echo from somewhere. Does someone have the stream turned on?
It's not coming out of your viewing, is it?
No. I think
I
it's
do
Jay.
have, I do have the stream up, but
Maybe, is it muted?
it is, and I mean it's also in headphones even.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm hearing it like a tunnel effect.
oh, that's not good.
That's
what do I
yeah,
do
mine's
about
muted
that?
too.
Okay, is mine muted?
It's like a double tunnel effect. It's so weird. I hear myself twice.
Oh, that's really weird. Fred, do you hear it? Can we get
Fred,
confirmation?
do you hear tunnel vision? Oh, wait, tunnel audio.
Tunnel audio?
Taudio.
Taudio? Yeah, I don't know the phrase for that.
Taudio. Okay, so seems like it's just.
Nope, just fine on mine. Okay.
But you guys aren't hearing it either, are you?
I don't hear it.
What
Well,
the heck?
I'm also not listening directly to the stream, actually.
Yeah, neither am I. I'm
Weird.
weird.
I'm so
Very
confused.
Here's oh, I know it. I think it might be my phone. Period. So I'm gonna pick up on headphones for the phones that
Okay.
might be.
Okay.
That's been it in the past, as far as I know.
Gotcha. All right. We're getting everything sorted. This is
So far, that's
going great.
no. There's an echo. Dang it.
Is it still echoing? Because I got the headphones
Yeah.
on.
No.
Yeah.
Do you?
Let me see something real quick. I'm just gonna disconnect for a second.
The suspense.
I know.
Right. Test.
Back. Echo.
Test.
Back it. I don't know what happened.
Oh.
We're here. We're good.
All
Thanks
right.
for bearing.
Excellent. We know how to do.
We may proceed with our scheduled programming.
Yes, indeed. So.
On to the music end.
Yeah.
So
to
anyone watching or rewatching, hello. We're music nerds.
Yes, we do. We do some music things. Oh
goodness, yes.
And we are here to talk about music today, which is great. I'm excited. So we don't really have anything directly planned to talk to.
Why don't we start with a little icebreaker? Do you guys want to talk about some of our favorite video game soundtracks that might inspire us, even if indirectly?
Absolutely.
Who wants to start?
I feel like Jay should go first. Just
yeah, Jay.
All right. Well, because I am newer and less frequent on the stream, I will do the honors of going first.
Ah, lovely.
There's almost too many. I guess the most trite one that comes up in Box of Mushrooms conversations that all my fellow mushrooms will tell you about, that I'm always spouting off on, is Undertale.
Nice.
For those of you who have played it, you'll know that all the boss themes are actually the same actual song, just sped up, slowed down, shifted in frequency. And I actually, on my first playthrough, I didn't even notice, because it's done so well that it feels like its own individual song. But then, as the game entices you to do multiple playthroughs, you start to pick up on it, and then it just creates such an environment of like that boss energy, where you're a little bit antsy, or your heart's racing, and I also felt that, obviously Toby Fox did all the soundtrack for that game, and he did such a great job at catering each of the individual tweaks to each of the individual bosses. I think that all of them, they fit so well. And so it's just a really admirable thing, in addition to all of the different cities / settings that had their own individual themes. I thought it was just obviously the world agrees, but I think we all understand that it was a very beautiful soundtrack.
Interesting about the Undertale soundtrack is like it on its own, it's amazing. It's really cleverly put together, and it really
Right.
suits the 8-bit setting. But once you really dissect the melodies, you really realize how beautiful it is in terms of like the melodies and harmonies too.
Oh my
And
goodness,
I don't,
yeah.
especially like themes like Waterfall, Shop theme from Snowden,
Oh
and
sure.
oh my Undertale, the theme that plays when you go
The
through
theme
New Home.
itself. Right.
Yeah,
Oh
that stuff is great
gosh,
too.
it's heartbreaking. And then it shows up towards the end of the game.
Yes,
After
when
the
you're going through
Asgore
the
and
Grey
the
House.
solo guitar, it's like, oh man. Um, I I don't often listen to I listen to music pretty much all the time during the workday. I don't always listen to game soundtracks, but there's a lot on Undertale that are on repeats. I can just fall into the several. I think it's more than 100 individual tunes that are on Spotify, and I could just listen to them front to back, and they're so wonderful.
Have you heard the 5th anniversary Undertale in concert?
Yes. Oh my gosh, the Sans one. It gives me anxiety. It's crazy.
It takes it to a whole new level. It just really shows how
Hmm.
beautiful the raw material is that when it has the proper instrumentation, it's just like poof.
I know. I know. It creates that much more of a layer of appreciation. That I mean, that people did that no less. That it was so adored that it got to that place.
Exactly. And now I really want to play it in orchestra, and I know I can't because the
Oh.
music is probably unattainable, but we
But
can
you
dream.
can dream, yeah.
I can dream of playing the flute solo at the beginning. Or no, it's an oboe
Yeah.
solo. But you know what? I think there's a flute solo in there somewhere too.
There you go.
Or is it like a melodica? I don't even know. It's some curious stuff that he dabbled in.
Mm-hmm. I wonder. Well, I mean, I know there's a video on how he made it, but I wonder like how much of it is samples versus how much of it is real instruments. Like, I don't know. The Snowden theme really does sound like a flute, but it has like a bit of an 8-bit tune to it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I actually don't know. And I think New Home is an. I mean, like the Toriel's home theme is an actual piano and guitar, right?
It is. Yeah. It's very, very limited the acoustic instruments that show up in the soundtrack. But yes, there is. I know for a fact that there is no actual drums, but there is actual piano and there is actual guitar at a variety of instances.
Kind of a combination of modern and old techniques to create that like really, really high quality sound, but at the same time that 8-bit retro theme.
Yeah, I mean, it just creates that variety of textures, because each feels different when you're listening to it, when you're experiencing it in accompaniment of I mean, the 8-bit, sure, but the art that music is serves to complement in different ways depending on whether you want entirely electronic or if you want acoustic instruments. Which, by the way, I haven't talked about this with my guys. I've told my team, I've told Box of Mushrooms that it's mostly going to be acoustic, but I do imagine there will be call to do some entirely electronic or synthetic instruments, especially for expediency. So
Yeah,
That'll be fun.
that would be cool.
fun is one way to think of it. Yeah, it'll be a challenge. It'll be interesting.
I look forward to varied instrumentation in our soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
Are you gonna get all the instruments live, or are you gonna use samples?
Live. Yeah, it's all gonna be me. So live,
Yeah.
live.
All you?
Yeah. Well, yeah. And so that's another conversation. I don't know how much we want to get. I mean, this was the icebreaker, I suppose. But why not?
We can
why not
just
let
dive
the
into it.
conversation
Yeah.
come up? Yeah. Why not let it show up organically? No.
Yeah.
So, in conversation with oh, and then Sasha, Kevin, yes?
Fish.
Yes.
Fish, yes. Fish Chiesa.
Fish.
Right.
Fish quesadilla.
You know
Fish
Fish.
quesadilla. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, so in conversation with him, well, I guess, I don't know how much the team has told you. We are all actually fairly gifted instrumentalists. Kevin, Fish, whoops. He is an outstanding, and I truly mean outstanding, like he stands out from anybody that I've ever met. He's one of the best jazz bassists that I think has ever been born.
He's very good.
Oh.
Phenomenal. He plays a fretless bass. It's really something to behold, and it's an experience just to watch him. And he's also a very gifted guitarist, gifted vocalist, etc. Ryan, I mean, so are we using handle names? Are we using our official-
Either's fine, honestly.
Right.
Either's fine for me
Yeah.
too. You can just people
Whatever.
people know my name.
Yeah.
Right. Ryan actually. Did you ever do classical piano?
Oh yeah,
I've never
that was my
Okay, so
upbringing.
that's right. Mine as well. So I figured
Yeah.
as much. And then both Anton and Paul, the other two guys on the team, they're both fantastic guitarists. And so, in conversation with Fish / Kevin, it's mostly been him who's given me any amount of pushback when I've thought about outsourcing instruments on which I'm not proficient. So I do piano, I do drums, I do bass, I do guitar, I do ukulele. All of those I feel that I can write and perform and record sufficiently for my needs for this project. But if it came to something like, I would want to have some flute or some clarinet or some sax at certain moments. There are different, I use the word texture. There's like a different taste that when you're hearing that, it lends itself to different settings or a different character or a different emotion that you're trying to evoke. And I can do the embouchure for a sax, for a trumpet, for a clarinet, for a flute, but I can't play them professionally, nor do I really necessarily feel confident writing in those instruments. And so trying to loop someone in, pluses and minuses, right? Right now, Fish is really big into trying to keep it in the family for the moment. And I see the advantage of that in the earlier stages. But as we work towards finalizing tracks and really me mastering and finishing, putting finishing touches on setting bubbles, etc., I do envision that there will be some of outsourcing. One thing that he's pointed to is sorry.
I want to say, well, first of all, between the fact that there's like 5 of you who can play different instruments, it seems like you're already going to have a pretty strong foundation of like live instrumental sounds, and especially if you make your track kind of on the more acoustic side, but with like, mostly a lot of guitar, a lot of piano, seems like you'll have like a pretty solid foundation. And even if you take a half and half, so like if you use samples for your like your wind instruments and like the regular guitar, it's still going to sound leaps and bounds better than using all samples. And there's actually a lot of professional soundtracks that do that. The main thing is just to put a slight amount of reverb on everything, using more for higher frequencies and less for lower frequencies, because reverb makes everything sound like it was recorded in the same room. So that's kind of what runs it seamlessly together. And also, just saying, if you actually need a flute player, wink, wink, I'll do it for free.
And if we need 2 flute players, because Kat plays flute as well, right?
Yeah, she does.
Katie.
So I'll start writing my flute duets tonight to
Yeah, there you go.
Game. You made the offer. We have it on stream, so you got back out.
If we don't have at least one song that's flute duet with guitar, piano, and jazz bass, I will protest. Make it happen.
But really, it's fully possible and even preferred in like people who are writing their first video games who don't have the budget for a full orchestra to do like some real and some sample and just blend it together. That's one option. And the other option is to write for limited instrumentation, like only writing for the instruments that you have.
Exactly.
And that also makes it easier on you. But both of them are completely viable options, and I think you'll do a great job with
it. I appreciate the vote of confidence. I don't know where that's coming from. I could be the worst guy in the world. Like, really?
Nah.
No, but
you're too humble.
I've heard the music in the demo. I've heard the music in the demo. It's really good.
It is. You should hear some of his sketches are like so good. So I don't know. I guess it gets to, I guess diving into a little more about sort of a video game process, but I know one of the things that you've done, which we all have like said repeatedly that we love that you do, is you'll put together like several sketches of different kinds of recordings, and just like send those to us and be like, what do you think about all of these? They're like different takes on this idea, or and that way it's sort of like we have an opportunity to sort of refine it, and it's not just like we're being presented with an end product that is like, all right, here's the song,
Yeah.
drop it in. So that's been, I really love that.
Really
Well,
neat
and what?
idea.
Yeah.
What do you
Yeah,
mean by
yeah.
sketch? What do you mean by sketch?
Ryan, you want that one or?
You go for it.
Sure. So piano is my home instrument. I play that one since I was 3 years old, and 27 as I am now. It's been more than 20 years that I've been on it. So I've been writing since I was 10. So all of the writing that I do usually starts from some amount of piano. I actually lately I've picked up on writing on guitar and ukulele, but most of it's on the piano. So what'll happen is I'll be tasked with. Right now we're working on a project that is for a very specific setting, and so I sit down and I just tinkle for a while, and I'll record at length, and then I'll go back over the recording, and I'll pick out a little 30-second or a minute snippet that feels like it evoked the particular emotions we wanted for that type of setting, and then I develop that, and instead of turning it into this polished product, I get it to a place where I feel I can play a 90-second to 3-minute little interval of what it will what a simplified version of it would be instead of a mastered, finished, layered product for the game. And that 90-second snippet, I just give a numeric or alphabetical designation, and I make that 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. And then I'll produce a block of them, and then they all go on and they say, what do you think of these? Here are my thoughts on where we might be able to use them, be that a setting, be that for a character, be that for an arching game theme. And I just source feedback.
That's really interesting. So most of the time your instrumentation on these sketches is just piano, right? But I'm guessing you get the melody and the chords at the same time, so it's a pretty good
That's correct.
idea of how it's going to sound.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. And so in my mind, what's happening is, I don't know how what your process is. You say you play flute. What other instruments are you on actually?
Flute's my dominant, and flute
Right.
relatives like recorder, piccolo stuff.
Right.
I
Right.
play a little bit of piano. Like I
Mhm.
played for 4 years, but it was when I was young and it was not a very accelerated curriculum. And so I can play enough piano like that I can input into a sequencer.
Right.
I'm very good with melodies and stuff, but
Oh,
I
I'm sure as a thought.
severely struggle with chords.
Mm.
Chords
Okay. Yeah.
are like
Yeah.
the bane of my existence, and there's something I'm trying to get better at now. So my process is typically like I'll compose a melody at sometimes for like just a 30-second snippet, like an intro, a section, a B section all separately, and sometimes I'll
Right.
just go forth and do the entire melody, and then I'll use like sometimes theory, sometimes my ear to like assign chords. So like I'll have a string line maybe in Sibelius or like a string synthesized part in
Mhm.
Reaper, and I'll just like play chords that sound right, and then from there I'll either like physically break them up and assign them to different instruments, or maybe I'll kind of like play along and like make up counter melodies. But it's all very much by ear and done in chunks to make up for my not great piano playing.
Okay. Yeah. That makes
That's
a lot of
fair.
sense.
But
Um.
I wish I
But
could get better at chords. I'm starting to get better at chords, but I still think of them as like theory. If I were to sit down at a piano, even if I had a melody in mind, I would not automatically know what chords to play.
interesting.
I find that so interesting, just because. Well. I So as flute dominant, do you? I mean, obviously you can't play more than one note at the same time. So
That's right.
when you're playing, does any flute music actually have chords ever overlaid with it? So like sometimes if you buy a Disney book and you flip through, they'll have the melody line, they'll have the piano part, and then above that in sequence they'll have like sometimes they might even have like the bar chord shape for a guitar, and then they'll also label the chord name.
You know, I've never really looked at it like that before, because as a piano, like in terms of performance, I usually play in an orchestra setting.
Mhm.
Got it.
So
Right.
all I have in front of me is my part and only my part. The closest thing to what you're describing is sometimes I've done flute solos with piano accompaniment, in which case the piano has its own thing going on with chords and a counter melody, while the
Right.
flute is playing the top melody. But I think
Right.
my lack of experience is part of the reason why chords are very problematic for me.
Hmm.
Oh, absolutely.
because I never really seen how chords fit into the flute melodies that I play. And like I said, my piano knowledge is very, in terms of like how to play piano, is very elementary. So
Right.
like when I quit piano, I was just getting into like 1 chords and 5/7 chords, and obviously you can't get very far with those.
Yeah.
Well, you
I mean,
can
I mean, yeah.
one
you can play
five
some
seven,
stuff.
1 5/7, 1 5
Yeah.
7, nothing.
I mean, limitation breeds creativity, right?
That is precisely my thought. You could write a soundtrack for a very curious game if you used only
Yeah.
1s and 5/7.
Yes.
So that's why at the moment I have to either rely on theory or on guess and check. Because like on theory, if I write in Sibelius, I have the melody in front of me, and I'm like, okay, this chord
Exactly.
has an A in it, so let me try a D. No, that doesn't sound right. Let me move the D to the bass. Let me do an inversion. Didn't sound right. Let me try this again, and then this again. So that takes a little longer, but I have less room for like error because it's right there. Versus when I compose in Reaper, I kind of like go by ear and then I adjust stuff. And that's probably the most frustrating thing to me about writing in a sequencer now, is because
I
that
gotcha.
without being able to see the actual sheet music, it's like I have no idea what chords I'm putting here.
Gosh.
Yeah, that
But
makes sense.
I've been studying it. I'm hoping I've been getting better at it, and at the same time, what I've been doing is like trying to tell more complex melodic and counter melody stories with simple instrumentation, so that I don't have to do that complexity of chords. And
Yeah.
just out of curiosity, have you ever heard my soundtrack for Locks and Lilies?
No, I have
Don't
not.
think
So this
so.
is and this is
Would you like me to share it with you?
Yes,
yeah.
please.
Do you have it ready?
Yeah, I can get it ready in like just a few seconds. In the
Heck
meantime,
yes.
let's keep talking about chords. So with Locks and
Yeah.
Lilies, it's a very simple instrumentation. It's literally just harp, flute, and bells. And the fact that the harp is primarily chord based, I was able to very theory wise work it around the flute, and I feel like that's part of why it has that simple success. Even though it's only 3 instruments, everything is very melodic and flows together without clashing. And for Locks and Lilies, which takes place in a greenhouse, that's perfectly the vibe that it can go for.
Well, precisely.
So now the next step in my composing process is how to take that same simplicity and continue to expand it. And I've been told that it's not as hard as I'm making it seem, because even in a fully orchestrated score, a lot of um, times it'll only be like 1 or 2 or 3 or at most 4 things going on at a time, and the reason it
Yeah.
sounds so complicated is because there's a bunch of stuff doubled.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
think
No,
so.
you're hearing richness and but not necessarily
Yeah.
breadth. You're not necessarily hearing 14 different notes at the same time. It's just
Right.
a lot of
Because that would
instruments
just be
playing the same.
noisy. Yeah, it's very much about sort of filling out the sound, I would say.
Exactly. More cacophony than harmony.
Yeah. I think the most like complex sort of stuff that, I mean, there's always like the more atonal stuff, but like listening to like Bach, where it's all just like heavy counterpoint, that's where it's really
Right.
like there's a lot going on, but if you just zone out to sort of like the chord structure, it still sounds really good.
Of course.
Yeah, which it's Bach, of course, but
Well, so everybody is aware that all these classical composers, they have their masterpieces, their concertos, their full orchestral movements. But I mean, Ryan, especially since you were on the piano, you know as well as I, in the very very basic steps, there is classical music by Beethoven, Franz, Mozart.
Yep.
That's very simple. That is
Oh
really
yeah.
just a very like a single tone melody line, and sometimes just 2 to 3 note chords beneath, or even just a counter melody in the left hand. Also sometimes just 2 or 3 notes at once. And it's that simplicity, it's the mastery of the simplicity in pieces like that that translates very neatly to expanding horizontally and vertically.
We're live.
Oh, here we go.
Awesome.
Let's do it.
Let me know if you guys can see it.
It is loading. Oh, there it is. It says I have low
You see it?
quality, but yes, I do see it.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Okay, if I tap this, can you hear it?
Yes, I heard something. Yes.
Cool. Okay. So let me just zoom in on this a little bit. And let's just take a look at this. Maybe we can do this for everybody. We can just like analyze a little bit of like tracks we've made.
Okay.
So if we take a look at just that part alone, you'll see a lot of the chords like this guy right here have a lot of strange inversions. That's because I kind of had the advantage of having the melody right there before me, and then I would type in the chords that they were at the bass line. Like when I first started composing this, after writing the upper part of the heart melody, I actually wrote out potential chord symbols. I tried them, sometimes I deleted them, and then I inverted them for proper voice leading. And the fact that I was able to do that without having to straight up improvise them is what helped me put in chord variety.
Okay. So for this piece, you started with a melody?
I did. I actually
Okay.
almost always start with the melody.
That makes sense, yeah.
Okay, I know that you're a flautist. That is, well, it's just in my mind that speaks to how amazing you must be as a raw instrumentalist, because I cannot even begin to understand what the writing process would look like were I not leading from the first moment that I tried to create an ensemble with the chords. The melody is naturally there. So what often will happen is I'll just be like messing around on chords and I'll hear the melody in my head as a compliment to what I'm doing. But it always, almost always, I would say 99.999% of the time, starts with a chord base and expands from there.
Really? So you do it completely opposite.
Oh, I have to. Well, because
So interesting.
because I mean the iterative process that you're mentioning, where you begin with the melody line, and then there's a pseudo guess and check process. I when I am playing a melody, very naturally in my own head, I will hear the chord progression beneath it, whether or not I've written it. So like even if
Yeah.
I'm just playing single notes in my right hand, I'm hearing chords beneath it in my head as an intro compliment. And I think that's probably just a byproduct of playing piano for 20 years. You know, it's
Oh,
just
yeah. When you're playing a melody with your right hand, you're sort of thinking what chords your left
what your
hand
left
is
hand
playing.
would be doing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe what I need to do is get better at piano, and then the chords will just start coming naturally, and then I'll be unstoppable.
Yeah.
I think that's exactly the right recipe, because if you can do this without knowing piano well, I shudder to think of the amazingness that would accompany your skill set. Were you a master of piano as well?
And one of the nice things about writing for harp, which I'd say is probably one of my favorite instruments to write for, is if you
Oh,
ever need
yeah.
an accompaniment that moves a lot, one of the ways is to arpeggiate. So what I
Yeah.
did in this next section, which I'm about to show you guys, is after writing the flute melody and assigning the proper chords, I just put arpeggios at the bottom, and then all of a sudden it gets this whole forward motion that kind of feels like a B section. Do you guys want to hear what
Yeah.
that sounds like?
I am ready.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Oh no, I can't hear it. Oh no, what happened?
Oh,
Can both of you not hear it?
I can hear it. Are you?
What am I doing?
Did you?
It's.
Did you mute the
But you
stream
can hear it.
accidentally?
I think that's what it was. Let's see.
You just like right-click the video.
I'm doing it on my phone because I am a poor boy with no good laptop.
Oh, how do you do it on phone? Oh, I don't know.
But it was working a second ago, right? The power of the flute eludes you. It's escaped.
Oh, no.
Oh, now you've paused it. Okay, I got the stream volume fixed.
Okay. Cool.
All right, do you want me to try it again?
That was incredibly derailing. Please do.
Can you hear it now?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Gosh, I love the little chimes.
I feel like they add like this whole playful innocence to it. They're so pure and so high up.
They are.
Yeah.
And it's exactly as you're saying with the arpeggiation. It fills it out without adding like any unnecessary complexity.
Yes,
Yeah.
there's no muddiness because it all feels
Hmm.
so harmonically fitting.
And that's, I mean, it's that natural characteristic of the harp that because we so expect it to do that naturally, that
Hmm.
without creating busyness, you're still filling empty space. Gosh, I need to listen to more flute music. This is gorgeous.
And this is
Yeah.
actually this is a it's a decent sample for
Mhm.
Sibelius, but a real flute like with vibrato it just takes it to a whole nother level.
Mm.
If you
Can only
wanna
imagine.
if you wanna listen to flute in a modern simplistic setting, I recommend the Child of Light soundtrack. I think that soundtrack had a low budget because despite being from a AAA studio, it it's primarily just a flute, a piano, and cello for the entire soundtrack.
Oh.
But I
Nothing wrong
think
with
that's
that.
Yeah.
I
That
know
sounds amazing.
that entire simplicity though is just so gorgeous. Also, if anyone is interested in doing transcriptions, I know Danguin, we've talked about this before.
Yeah.
Because of that simple instrumentation, it's a great place to start because it's easy to hear the three components,
Mm.
and that's how we loop it.
This
That's
little
Morning
triangle.
of Bliss.
That's
Nice.
beautiful.
That's lovely. Yeah.
It really
Thank
was.
you. But yeah, that's pretty much how I compose with having a lack of knowledge of piano. I start melodically and then assign the chords theory wise. And I'm hoping it will come to a point where the chords will start to come more naturally because I think chords is what take me the longest at the moment.
Yeah.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
still, like once you get it, once you get them assigned right and it all starts to flow together, it's so satisfying. And that's part of why I love it. Just like seeing it come together like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. Definitely.
Well, so you said you have a very base knowledge of piano, very rudimentary in terms of when you start taking formal lessons.
Correct.
Have you ever like done the old YouTube tutorial where you just put your phone on the? Do you have access to a piano at present?
Yes.
Okay,
Like
so have you ever?
right now?
Hmm?
Oh, yeah.
Oh no, sorry, wait, not
Oh,
right at this
Live
exact
on
moment, just
stream.
yeah.
in your
Right
stage in life.
now. Yeah, I have three of them actually. I have
Oh.
the one I
Oh
have the
goodness
one
me.
I have the one that like I learned piano on because like still even when I stopped taking lessons I still would play from time to time. I have the one I
Exactly.
compose with and I also have my travel one that I compose with.
Goodness me. Well,
Nice.
you brought your A game to the number of pianos that I have certainly lost.
Yeah.
If it's any consolation, everybody in my family has bequeathed me their pianos in their will, so there will be one day after all my
Mm.
relatives are dead, well, I'll just have like a room with 8 pianos in it. Assuming that's how that plays out.
Interesting.
Full
Right,
on
right.
piano. But you were
Man.
saying?
Have you ever done the like where you put your phone up and you just have somebody go through basic music theory, just building chords, your majors, your minors, your sevenths, your diminished, your augmenteds, your iterations, and melody lines, left hand chords. Just
You know,
because go
good
for it.
idea. It's a good idea. I know I probably should, but I feel like I hit this frustrating point where I quit piano around the same time I started flute, and because like
Mm.
in flute I progressed pretty quickly, and so like theory wise I'm way further along than I was in piano. Like in piano I was just learning what eighth notes
Exactly.
are, and
Right.
in flute it's like I'm doing like college level theory, and so I feel like
Yeah.
I'll hear a song and I'm like, oh, this is cool. Let me try playing this on the piano. And then I don't have the physical capabilities for it and I get frustrated. So
I think
I
we
feel
all
like,
know that game. Oy.
but so you say like
Yeah.
just find YouTube videos and they like teach you like the components of theory, like not just what they are, because I already know what they are, but like how to play them.
Or I mean, shoot. So because you are extremely advanced in flute, and since you know, yeah, they are on different. Are they tuned similarly? I know that there's a variety of instruments that they show the same note on the stanza, but it's not actually the same
Mm.
note on a different
Yeah.
instrument.
What clef is flute?
Flute is treble, and
Okay.
also it
Yeah.
is in C. So a
Okay.
C on the
Okay.
piano will
Even
be a
better.
C on the flute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Fantastic. So yeah. So I mean, you're miles ahead of somebody. I think it's like sax is the one. Maybe it's trumpet. Who knows? Somebody does. Possibly you. All I'm saying is, go for it.
Yeah, there's a lot of instruments that don't call notes what they actually are. Like
Yeah.
it'll even be in the name, like B flat clarinet, B flat trumpet.
Yep.
But
Yes.
yeah, Continue.
Yeah. Well, all I was gonna say is, I mean, shoot. So there's basic music theory, but then there's jazz theory, and jazz is actually one of what I have found for my own self as a composer. It's one of the most important things that I ever learned in terms of jazz theory because
Oh.
the improvisational quality that jazz is in its entirety allows you to sit down and just iterate. So you can have a chord progression, and then you can write a melody line for it, and then because you know jazz theory, you shift each of your chords to a relative minor or a relative seventh, or up and down, however you see fit. But you keep the same melody line, and that simple iteration takes a song that had a particular sentiment and completely flips it on its head while maintaining the exactly identical melody. And it all still fits because it's in the same key and because you just changed the chords to their relatives, so nothing is going to conflict. And that's a
So
single
interesting.
example. Yeah,
Uh-huh,
That's
uh-huh.
a
I bet.
single example of how jazz theory translates really well to iterating inside of, well, for me personally. This is not, we have
That's
completely different processes. That's just,
I bet that adds a lot of different colors to it too. Instead of being like the
oh
same
gosh,
1,
yeah.
4, 5, 1 over and
yeah,
over again.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
And then
Do you have an
all
example of an excerpt where you used jazz theory to put it together?
gosh, and so this is what the problem is. I am my setup is essentially nil at present. I have the only thing that I'm doing right now is recording with my phone's speaker on the piano. All of the tools that I have are on my laptop, but I haven't really gotten into it, and I need to buy a PC that can handle the stuff and that I can sit down at and blah blah blah. A lot of excuses to be able to say that I don't have anything formal that I would be able to share.
Got you. Wait, did you just say you record piano with your phone?
Yeah, and
He
that's terrible.
does.
That's. Oh, I mean, I'm pretty amazed at the quality. You must have a good quality microphone on your phone.
Yeah, Google Pixel 3a. It's actually pretty decent.
It's pretty good. Yeah.
Wait, do you have the piano in your room right now?
The piano is, I mean, shoot, it's out. It's out in the living room. I'd be happy to take my phone with me. It'll sound a little rough, but I'm happy to show you what I mean.
Play some
Yeah.
chords. Play some chords. Play some
Go
chords.
go noodle a bit.
All right.
Go nuts.
You guys go on chatting. I'm just gonna go give the roommates the old. Give me a minute of silence if you. I'll be right back.
All right.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I think what he was saying about like bringing the jazz theory into it, I think that's one of my biggest like weaknesses is that, because I had such a classical upbringing and, even through college I was doing choir, which was very, it's all very classically based. When it comes to sort of like improvising and really conducting, or not conducting, but composing, it's like harder for me to just sort of play like almost without thinking, because I'm so used to like looking at sheet music and trying to recreate what's on the music, and not inventing my own thing.
I feel like I'm in the same boat as you actually, because I also
Yeah.
had a very, very classical training. It's only recently, like with video games, that I started even listening to stuff that's more like modern.
Yeah.
And I also don't have a very strong background in improvisation. Like, it's definitely not something I did a lot. And I bet that's
Right.
another place where jazz theory comes in handy, because I know jazz theorists improvise a ton.
Yeah, it is huge, and I guess just a tangent about classical music in general, but it's kind of a bummer that it's not as much of a focus anymore. Because I know some of like the best composers were great because they're great improvisers. They would just improvise like whole pieces that are amazing. So.
All right, are you ready?
Oh yes, let's do it.
Time.
Okay, so I'm gonna play a little bit so you guys can give me feedback whether it's blowing out the audio.
Okay.
I usually do it on a particular app, and I don't know if being in Discord is gonna affect that in any way.
Okay.
Okay.
So here's just how's it sound?
I don't hear anything.
Oh, you didn't hear it?
No.
Yeah, I was like waiting in anticipation.
Yeah, I was like,
Are you actually kidding? Okay, so maybe
yeah, I don't.
maybe it's a decibel limit. Like, so maybe it's stopping it because it was too loud.
I don't think so. I think we might would have just heard blasted audio.
Yeah.
Maybe whatever microphone on your phone needs to be like the input device on Discord.
Maybe.
Like, is your input device set up correctly? Like,
Well, I
try
mean,
and test.
I mean, it's picking up your
You're hearing my
voice.
vocals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right,
Oh yeah,
right.
true.
So, are you
one
putting?
more time, let me.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna. Did you hear that?
No.
No.
That is bizarre.
Goodness me, that is the
That's so-
strangest thing. Let's try this. Ready? How about?
No. I just hear like I feel like I'm hearing the thump of like you hitting keys.
Yeah,
But-
that thump sounded angry.
Yeah.
This.
That's
There's
really
no way
weird.
to account for any of this.
Oh, I wonder if it's sort of cutting it out. If you go into maybe it's like the noise suppression setting in Discord.
Oh, it might be because it's not. Well, in that case, let me bring it closer to the actual. Here, where's the soundboard? Anything?
No. I think it's noise suppression.
It's gotta be.
That
It's gotta
is hilarious.
be. That is.
Oh well.
No,
An
I'm here. I am here now. I'm going to try to mess with the setting.
I think it should
As
just
we
be
wait
in
with
like
bated breath.
let's see.
Voice activity, input mode.
I think it's in like oh, down at the noise suppression under voice processing.
Would you guys like to hear a stunning automaton note?
Oh yes.
Okay, all right. I turned up. Oh, good.
Ah.
Oh, goodness.
Beautiful.
What about this one?
Oh, oh. Oh, that's squeaky.
All right. I've
All right.
turned off the noise suppression, and now back to voice and video. Noise suppression is up. All right. We're gonna try again.
Ah, those
Yeah,
are
yeah.
those are notes.
Beautiful.
Okay. And how does it? Is it too loud? Is it not coming through? Or
It's okay. It kind of like comes in and out a little bit, but got most of it.
It's hearable.
Yeah.
Listenable, audible.
It's
audible? That's one. I think all of those worked as well.
yeah.
Let me try. So I'm just gonna try a couple different positions to make sure that it's not horrifyingly loud. Give me a feedback on.
No, it's fine.
Did it? Okay.
That one? Did you just played the one chord, right?
That's correct.
The
Yeah.
one? Okay, yeah.
And it was at a pretty appropriate level.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a little quiet. If anything, I think it might have clipped over. So.
Right. Then let me try it a little further from the mic. How about?
Good.
That's pretty good.
That was good.
Yeah.
It cut out about halfway, but enough for us to hear the attack and a bit of the resonance.
This will be fun. All right, I'm just gonna play something, and we will see what you guys can
We'll
hear.
see what we get. Yeah.
So the three most basic chords that you'll ever hear, you know the 4-chord songs. Like there's so many pop music songs that just iterate off of this. Your root, your fifth, your minor, which is your sixth, and your fourth, and that's everything. Even simpler is your root, then down to your fifth, and down to your fourth. So right now I'm playing a C major, G major, F major. Can you hear all that?
Yeah.
Okay.
It kind of clips with you talking at the same time, but we still get most of it, so that's okay.
At the same time, talking helps explain it. So
it does.
continue.
So yeah, do it. No pressure.
An excellent challenge. So if I just make up a melody, so. Right? So that's just an example of, I just play the bass note and I have a melody line on top of it. Could we hear that?
Mhm.
Yeah. So that
Okay.
was the base. No, that wasn't the full chord. Now are you gonna try adding the chord?
No, well, I could. I mean, so that's just me doing jazz stuff, doing whatever, just playing those 3 notes. What's great about that is now I'm in the jazz theory situation where I take the roots of those notes and I play a relative. So C, a very easy relative is A minor. And for G, it will be E minor. And for F, it will be D minor. Can we hear all those changes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll just keep playing the. And again. Now switch to the minor. Did that make sense?
I like the minor better. It added a little bit of a color that was kind of like serious, but it wasn't overly
Right.
sad.
Totally.
kinda-
And you know what? Oh, go for it.
It's like title screen music. It kind of reminds me of title screen music. It's a lot more tranquil than like say the first one, which kind of seemed like an opening to something.
Mhm.
Sure, or like almost a little too cheery and like almost insincere with how cheery it is, like a little too basic. But then you turn to the minor chords and you're keeping the same exact melody. Versus. But you've just played, you've just taken the fifth and turned it into a minor third beneath the root in each of those 3 chords and kept everything else identical. And yeah, I mean, that's
Like
the
if you
cleanest
did,
illustration.
what would it sound like if you did some major and some minor?
Right. Hey,
Is that a
sorry,
thing?
1 sec.
Sure, no problem.
Okay, I'm back.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So, well, then we're getting into like just the art of composing, right? Is which ones do you want to stay major? Which ones do you want to stay minor? Do you
That's
want to
true.
start the song out with your? And you iterate, you switch it up, you find which ones you like, but it all starts with just picking 3 chords and then playing their relative in some fashion. And then when you add your sevenths versus your major sevenths and your minor sevenths, or you can even make diminished, throw in accidentals, and that's
That's how you get color.
that's how you get that's how you get your variety. And so that's a very basic way that songwriting might happen. Sometimes what'll happen is I'll write something that I think is fine, but I think it might feel a little bit too trite because the chord progression is so overused. And then I'll take that because I like the melody line or I like the general sentiment that it's producing, and I'll iterate via this method, taught me very concisely by jazz theory.
Check that out sometime. Like just that idea of adding minor chords. I would have never thought of that because in music theory you're taught like scale degrees like major, minor, minor, major, minor, diminished, major.
Right.
And so you don't really think you can break away from that, but in theory, breaking away from that and putting in the minor chord shouldn't cause any dissonance whatsoever. It should just add color.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's the entirety of jazz's birth was people doing substitutions, things that weren't supposed to be happening according to classical theory, and it worked. And it got picked up on, and then it was popularized, and now it's part of the norm of how we write music. But it wasn't always, as you are explaining with what classical theory tells us.
Now I'm really curious if like a more classical sounding, like clearly not jazz soundtrack does that. Like Hollow Knight or Ori and the Blind Forest.
Yeah, I would think it does in some ways. I don't know. Yeah, like sort of what Jay was saying. It's sort of started in jazz, but of course, anything that starts anywhere tends to leak into everything else. So
Eventually, we'll bleed elsewhere.
yeah, I'm sure you could find instances of it all over the place.
I
Which is
think that's why, maybe unpopular opinion, but like music like Ori and the Blind Forest is even more interesting to listen to than classical music because it takes the aesthetic of classical music and mixes it with the stuff that works in other modern music.
right.
Right.
And it's
Right.
like classical feeling with a completely different color.
Hmm.
Oh gosh, yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hey, we've both shared something, so Dangwin, would you like to share something?
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Would you like to share something with the class?
Oh gosh. Let's see.
Share something. Share something.
Do it. Do it.
Well,
Do
out
it.
of the grand total of 2 pieces I've composed to this point,
Well, share
uh,
one of them. Refresh the process a little bit.
yeah. I'm trying to pull.
Also, while you're pulling that up, I will say I am so thoroughly impressed by how you, Sasha, have been writing that I want to try it. I want to pick up an instrument that's going to force me to stay more melodic and then produce chords after I have a melody. I'm really interested to see if that'll push me in different directions.
I would really love to see how that turns out. So you never write in a notation software?
I have before. Like I said, I just don't have reasonable access to anything at present.
Because of your computer situation or because of your access to
Yeah.
programs? Oh, okay, computer situation.
Yeah. But I will be
still, yeah.
moving. I'll be moving inside of a month, and I'll have my own setup, and I'll have everything back. So once that is
Hey.
here and ready to go.
Nice, but in the meantime, wait, I just had an idea. What if I legit, like, what if you either wrote a melody or I made one up and I sent you a flute recording and then you try to add chords to it?
Ooh.
Yeah, that
What would that sound
sounds
like?
like the classic Elton John and the guy who wrote his lyrics. It sounds like we're about to go all out.
Or like, I'm trying to think, if what instrument do you have that would be more melodic? You mentioned you have the embouchure for like trumpet. Do you have a trumpet?
I don't have a trumpet. I do have a flute, but I'm very bad at flute.
Ooh. Play the flute. No, just kidding.
That'd be awesome.
Actually, you know what? My interest in flute. This is a wild shot in the dark. I wouldn't be too worried. You know the band Gorillaz?
No.
No worries. All right. There's a specific couple of songs wherein they sample some flute melodies, and it's just filthy. The way that the flautist is playing it, I'm not sure how they're producing the sounds that they are, but I'll follow up with you. I'll send you the stuff. It is extremely interesting. Yeah.
No, definitely try writing that melody first and then trying the chords. And once I get my chord knowledge, I want to try it your way too.
Yeah. This is so inspiring. I'm so glad we did.
This is the best. Music nerds are the best kind of people.
Yeah. This is why I was so looking forward to this because I was like, oh, Jay and Sasha are just gonna talk and it's gonna be great and it's gonna be music and it's just gonna be great. It's all great.
Jay,
also, there's a
oh, sorry, you go ahead first.
No problem at all.
Tell your thing. Tell your thing.
Yeah. Well, I was just gonna say to you, there's a specific, like so for jazz musicians. Have you ever played jazz flute?
No, I never have.
No worries. Do you know like the fake book, the real fake book, those like the standard jazz classics?
My knowledge of jazz is actually very, very limited, and it seems like it needs to expand because the Cuphead soundtrack slaps.
It is lovely.
Yeah, I love Cuphead. I mean, so the jazz is outstanding in there, but I mean, it's also got that ragtimey feel. It's also got that that roaring
big
20s.
Band. Yeah,
big band, man. Oh yeah,
big band is
it touches
one of my
things in your
favorites.
soul, and then it turns it into the most difficult game that humanity's ever seen. It's an amazing thing that they've done.
Yeah.
Cool. And all animated by hand too.
I know. Gosh, revolutionary in so many regards. Regardless, all right. So all I was gonna say was about the real fake book and the fake book and the real one. They're all like just crapper little. It's as if you printed out your own book and then you took it to a bad college binding station and they gave you like a really terrible spine. There's another jazz book that taught me piano jazz theory, and I just I went through it and I learned from nothing to still relatively little. There's much more that I should know, and the book can teach. And I can send you a copy just because
Sure.
if you know how to read the sight read on piano, that's essentially it. It explains everything else as long as you can put notes from a stanza.
And you say specifically for flute, like jazz flute?
Oh no, it's for piano.
Oh, it's for piano. But
Mhm.
yeah, I'd love to take a look.
But it's what's extremely excellent about it is that incorporated into the rudiments of jazz theory is just basic classical piano theory. So chord progression, chord creation, all your major thirds, your minor thirds, what string them together are going to produce, et cetera, et cetera. So
But just with like the modern twists on it,
exactly.
breaking the conventions.
Or even like the old. I think the book is. What is the book from? It's from the 80s or something. It's pretty old at this point.
The real book?
Oh no. The where I learned the book that I learned jazz theory out of. Dude, I am so digging what I am seeing. Holy cow!
So I don't know where my. So this was the first one I did. This was for the GMTK Jam. The one I did for the last one, I did in a different program, and I don't know where that project file went. I just have like the ends piece. So
What's the other program?
I was trying one out called Helios or Helio.
Oh,
It's kind of like a DAW, but I don't know. It's very like minimal, and it was like a bit of a struggle to work with, so I probably won't keep using it. But you know, it was worth a try.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I have the song, but I don't have the project file. But it would have basically just been like a bunch of MIDI lines. So not that interesting, anyways. But this one at least looks like music. So I don't.
let's
Jay,
listen to some of it.
yeah. Have you heard this one, Jay?
Yeah, I
I
have.
think
Oh man,
you have. You have not?
I'm a terrible teammate at times. So
Ah,
let's do this.
that is okay. Make sure you can hear this, right?
Yes.
All right. I think should just be able to go. Okay, I guess we can just start with that. But
We can definitely start with that.
yeah.
Bless my soul, man. I don't even. Have you seen Over the Garden Wall?
No, I haven't yet.
Yes,
Well,
yes.
yes, yes. There's a prominence of frogs within the show, and there's a couple of episodes that focus almost exclusively on interactions with frog, like vaguely humanoid, but I mean mostly frog characters. And this, it just goes right in. It's it's beautiful. It's wonderful. It's apt. It's pertinent.
Well, that's why it's the theme for Froglum.
That's what it did.
Yep. That's
You didn't even need to have that there, and I knew.
Yeah, that's right. It's just obvious. But yeah, this one I did.
Nice little melody. The accordion melody. The fact that you brought that back later on cello, that makes me wonder. Is that what you started with?
No, I started with the accordion melody.
Exclusively.
I think I composed like this. Oh, can't do that. Probably this first two measures like all at once. So it was chord and melody. And then I sort of added the cello accompaniment. It's really mostly accompaniment, and that's because I did this whole section was sort of just iterating on that. You know, this is just a repeat with a setup at the end, and then it's sort of a B section. And then I mean, you can tell I definitely have like a classical understanding of like, okay, now I'm gonna do the melody in the other instrument, and then the other one's gonna be the accompaniment now.
Yeah, if there's anything that shines through is that whoever wrote this is steeped in classical understanding.
Well, that is good to know that it comes across that way.
It's
As a
got
compliment.
wonderful movement. Like it's got wonderful
Mhm.
movement. The fact that you
Mm.
have that first melody, it comes back right away, and then you have those little staccatos with rests. It's like, okay, we're getting ready for something different, but then no, it's back to the melody we know.
Mm.
Sounds different. It's beautiful.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is like it's very structured in like a way that I would completely expect from, a typical piece of music, I guess. That sounds weird to say, but it's like, it's a very basic structure, I would say, which I'm fine with, because yeah, it does work. I mean, there's a reason a lot of pieces are structured this kind of way.
Right.
So it's kind of nice to just be like, yeah, I can just go back to like the same thing now, but different, and do like a similar thing, but
Well, Ryan, I'm just so terribly sorry to say that I am now going to outsource a variety of classical nuggets that
all
I'm
right.
working on to you.
Okay.
Has it, Sasha? Has it been explained to you the nugget terminology that we've
No, the nugget.
nugs? So three of the five of us in Box of Mushrooms, we were actually all once upon a time in the college years. We were in a band together, and so whenever we had so I was on the drums, like I said. Fish was on bass, and then Paul Trong. I don't what's his name? What's his Discord handle?
It's what is his name? It's just
Don
Don
Is it
Trom.
Don Trong. That's right.
Yeah.
He was one of the guitarists. We had two. And so whenever one of us, and we all did, and this was what was so great about it, is there were four instrumentalists in the band, and all of us would at different times bring what we called a nugget, which was an unpolished piece of a song that we wanted to share with the group. And then I think the best songs that we wrote, there were 4 or 5 of them that were not in any sense completed at all. They were extremely basic, but someone had just had a chord progression, possibly a melody to accompany it, maybe just a part of a melody, one or two chord ideas. They brought it to the group, and then we built the song together. So the nugget, that phrase, is just that unpolished idea.
That's brilliant. And so that's why
Yeah.
you're saying you'll start sharing your classical nuggets with Ryan.
Right.
Yeah.
And Ryan, so if you remember from the first set of submissions that I put up,
Mhm.
the vaguely classical with the like the tinkling in the uppers, and then it goes into like highly arpeggiated with
Yeah.
with the sort of ragtime beneath it in the left hand.
Mhm.
That's yours now. Nothing you can do.
Okay. I'm fine with
Okay.
that.
Could you go up? Could you like scroll up just a little bit to your first 2 measures?
Yes.
Could you play the first 2 measures one more time?
Yeah.
Okay, so that last chord right there. Is there anything that inspired the dissonance between the D and the C?
I didn't want it to be completely resolved because
Mhm.
it's kind of continuing. I like dissonance, so I like adding it in, which you can tell a lot with the one other song that I composed because it's much in the realm of dissonance. But yeah, I don't know. It's just sort of it's a root chord but unresolved, so that it can sort of just keep leading on.
You could almost call it like a D7 actually, because it does go up to the C just in a very
Yeah.
unusual way. So it works, but it's like it's not what your ear expects to hear. But as a composer, how do you know when it's dissonant versus when it's just wrong? Like, have you ever written something that you thought would be dissonant and you listen to it and you're like, ugh?
I think
Doesn't
And
feel
how do you
right.
fix it?
Yeah, I think it's really a feeling thing. If it sounds like, I think the biggest thing is not making it come completely out of nowhere and like not changing or not having too big of a shift to get there, if that makes sense. So like if it's you're holding like the same chord or doing like a normal resolution but adding in sort of a dissonant note, that's different than like changing to like the like I don't know, diminished sixth chord or something randomly, where it's just I think part of what it is it's a little bit unexpected but not so drastically unexpected that it feels wrong. I don't know.
And the way also on a theory sense. Wait, in your mind, what key is this in?
This is in G.
Never mind. For some reason, I was gonna incorrectly say that was in D minor because it's a D chord, a D7, and I was like, that's the leading tone, but it's not.
Hmm.
If anything, it's
But
a secondary
also-
leading tone.
Hold on, I'm looking at your
Just
clef
ignore.
section.
Just
It's not
ignore.
there. Yeah, I don't see
It's
any
all.
F sharp.
It's
That's
all.
not
It's
G.
all accidentalized. It's fine. It's
Oh,
G.
actually,
It's G in accidentals.
accidentals is the norm when you're writing scores, because think about it, if you're writing a song
Yeah.
to be recorded, so like you're gonna have people sight read it, you do not want key signatures because you want it to be as sight readable as possible. So
Yeah.
my
That makes sense.
my composition teacher told me
Okay.
two very big things. One, no key signatures. Two, measures on every measure numbers on every measure,
Hmm. Yeah.
because then the director can be like, everyone, measure 6. That sounded terrible. Play the F sharp louder. And if everyone is like, oh my gosh, where's measure 6? Then,
One,
well, you
two,
wasted $1 million.
4.
Yeah, pretty
Holy
much.
cow.
So
Yeah.
that's why no key signatures and measure numbers on every bar. And I think I was actually the one who told Dangwin that. So if you're mad about no key signatures, get mad at me. But it's industry standard.
That is one of the most outrageous things I've ever heard. Just because the only instruction that I've ever had has been for classical piano, and you always do key signatures there. But
Yeah.
you saying this makes total sense, and I
It does
bow
make
out
sense,
to
yeah.
the master.
Well,
It's
the one
just-
who taught
yeah.
me is the true master. He composes for Bad Batch. So,
Hmm.
yeah.
Oh, whoa,
I'm guessing he would.
okay.
Yeah.
We would know.
My composition teacher is such a legend.
Goodness me.
Can we listen to the rest of this? Dangwin?
Yeah.
Ryan?
Yeah.
Heck, yeah.
I'll just start from the second melody.
Start over.
Start over. Okay. It's a pretty short piece, anyways.
Or else we won't get the full feeling, you know?
Mm.
We gotta get the
That's true.
from start to finish.
Alright.
Love that.
This
love
is
that
like the
too.
most classical tag in the world.
It is. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes.
Sure. And I'm guessing it loops from
And
there.
then it loops, yeah.
Yes.
Ryan, I gotta know, just top to bottom, front to back. How did you write this? Could you even articulate a process, or was it kind of you just sat down and just tried to hammer something out?
It was a bit of a process. It was pretty linear. I kind of just went through it and was like, all right, I kind of did this part. What do I think would sound good next?
Right.
So, yeah, I would say this part was like pretty easy. I mean, probably these first 8 measures were pretty easy. This one was also pretty easy. I spent a bit of a while doing this part. The chord progression, I think this one I did actually, I got the chord progression here first, and then I was like, ooh, I like that progression. Let me figure out how to do something above it.
Got it.
So it was a bunch of like playing the chord and then doing something and then seeing if that would like lead well into the next thing.
Right.
Like this whole section was, it just like sounds funky, but I like it. I don't even know how to articulate that one.
The only thing about that section is because of the fact that you have so much in the bass and it's all kind of close together, it sounds a bit muddy. And I'm almost wondering if you were to
Right.
reorchestrate this, spread it out across octaves, so one an octave lower in contrabass, possibly doubled on cello, and then one on viol and one above the melody in violin. I wonder what the texture would be like. It would kind of be like padded strings encompassing the melody.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
even as is, it's still really, really good. But I'm actually curious, what inspired you to have the holding tones, like some of them hold over and some of them change, instead of having rearticulations every time?
I was kind
Was it-
of, I think I was thinking back to, I'm sure it was some video I watched at some point about some video game soundtrack. I couldn't even tell you which one anymore. But it was talking about how the piece or one of the pieces composed for it was very much like it started on a chord and then just one of the notes in that chord changed and then it kind of was just doing stuff and then one of the notes chord in that chord changed again and it just kind of like did a bunch of shifts just changing a single tone at a time. So that's sort of where I was like, I'll just have them hold over so that it's actually just a single tone changing.
Oh, I see it now.
Mm-hmm.
I see it.
Heck
Interesting.
yeah.
Yeah. So like this is like
And now,
There's
now
a
I'm
walk down
really
from the.
wondering what it would
Mhm.
sound like if all three were on a different instrument. Because then you would have really, really clear note changes.
Well, that's exactly right because they're not so close together, so you'd be able to pick them out individually.
yeah. I don't know.
That's such a cool idea. Like one changing at a time. I don't think I've ever heard that before.
Actually, well, and Brian, I'm not at all to steal the credence that is due you for what I think is a really fun melody and a really fun progression.
Thanks, man.
As far as I know, there are so many classical piano songs that do exactly this.
Yeah,
what is
I would say so.
Pockbell's? No, not Pockbell's Canon. It's not Pockbell's Canon. It's oh golly, I should know this. I can hear it in my head. It's by Bach, but they're it's a really famous one, and it's actually exactly that, where you start with a chord in your left hand and you change, and the composer changed one note, and then the melody is doing something very differently above it at all times, but the left hand is consistently just walking down a half step or a whole step from one note in the former measure.
I know a lot of times they'll do it like when it's arpeggiated in the left hands. That's pretty common. Yeah.
Or arpeggiate in the right hand as well.
Or yeah, in either. Yeah, that is super common. That's probably also just subconsciously I got a bit from that too.
Well, I think it's a very natural impulse because the minor changes, even though so small, they produce dramatic changes in the texture of the sound. So I mean, for example, Sasha, how well do you know if I say the difference between a major seventh and a seventh? Do you know the difference in the chord?
Yeah. When you say seventh, do you technically mean a dominant seventh?
Dominant
because
seventh.
It's not a minor.
Sorry.
Yeah. Yes,
that's correct. Yeah, exactly. So I mean, you look at the difference between those two. One of them is very peaceful. One of them is natural. It hits you. It's very soothing. And then the dominant seventh, and you're like, okay, well, we're suddenly jazz ragtime, and that's just the difference between. I mean, if you play root third fifth, major seventh, root third fifth, dominant seventh, that's a change of one half step.
But it's a completely different color.
And it's a completely different color, exactly. Yeah. And so that's what I'm saying with these types of walks is the it's so readily apparent to us to and how minute changes affect the texture of what we're writing.
Yeah,
it's like
it's true.
It's and on the other note, it's like sometimes if something sounds off, instead of completely rewriting it, just try changing it slightly because
just
a slight change,
a minor tweak.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, where's the dissonance coming from? What if I try this? Right. Lowers it a half step. Does an inversion? Inversions can sometimes go such a long way.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, no kidding. And also, I mean, in terms of, I don't know if this is classical theory or if this is jazz theory. If I say tritone, does everybody know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I've heard the term. It's a weird fourth, right?
It is, exactly.
Yes.
Oh, go for it, Ryan.
It's either augmented fourth or diminished fifth, depending on.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. I get you.
And yeah, so with and so if you look at it on piano, if you're playing your octave and then you play the tritone, if you play the root note that you're playing as the octave, it sounds terrible. Tritones are very unnatural. But if you walk that down 3 half steps, you're playing what a tritone is meant to sound like, and it sounds super jazzy and super fun and very full and very rich. Whereas just the change of that bass note by 3 half steps completely reorients, as you would say, the color.
Yeah, I like tritones. They're dissonant.
Heck yeah.
I feel like we're learning something today because we're all composers, but we're all so different in like small ways, and just adapting each other's techniques or adapting these small tweaks is probably going to take us all to a whole different level. It's like there's
It's
always
so exciting.
you can learn
Yeah.
from music.
Yeah.
This is a nice tritone here.
Let's hear it. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Can I just say also, Ryan, I think throughout this, I think you've done such a good job with pairing the staccatos. Like the staccato sections, not only are they so good and so frog, but they're also so accordion. You clearly
Yeah.
know the instrument that you're writing for.
I
Like the ending section, I want to hear it again.
Yeah. This probably took me the longest, these 3 measures, because
Right.
I knew I wanted it to loop, so I wanted to set it up at the 5 again. But
Mhm.
I was like, I'm here in like weird ass chord. I'm like in F sharp major here, and I have to get to D major in like a not totally
3
weird way.
bars.
In 3 bars. And I mean, I could have probably added more, removed something, but I don't know. So it's like coming down to the wire too. So I was like, just want it to work. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with how it came out. Right back into it.
Gosh.
The use
Yeah.
of offbeats is fantastic in that as well.
Hmm.
Just that it creates this like bouncing texture that it screams frog. That's all I can say. It screams frog.
That
A
was
firm and solid declaration.
It was
A
indeed
frog.
part of the intention.
frog.
Yeah.
A nail on the head, my man.
Yeah. I think I struggle the most with like changing from here to here. 'Cause this is probably like the biggest shift in chord, but it's like the least weird sounding. I don't know.
Let's hear it one more for that shift. Oh yeah, I hear it, but I think
Yeah.
you did pretty good, especially with the crunch.
Yeah.
You had that common tone, so it's not as jarring
Yeah.
when the bass line changes on you. I almost wonder what it would sound like if you used a common tone in the bass line as well, or maybe walked it down. Like you got, what is that? Is that a B? And you like, no, is it a B or a D?
Which one?
Small.
This D?
That one, the bass note. Yeah, it's a D. If you use like 16th notes to like walk it down so it's not as jarring there. But then again, I think that would take away from the staccato texture. I
Yeah.
don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, if I had more time,
You
I'm
know
sure I
what?
would have noodled around with it more, but yeah.
You know
Also,
what?
that
No.
last.
Frogs are jumpers, and that's just a big leap.
Indeed.
That's what it is.
Oh, the puns. I have a firm appreciation, Ryan, for the last 8th note in the 3rd measure. That is a D to an octave above F sharp, which I am a huge fan of. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's a stretch for the left hand, but
It is.
I like to do that in, even just in very simple recordings, because it's like you can hear it and not know that you're playing something that solid 80-85% of the world couldn't do. Just like
Wait,
the physical.
but this is a cello, isn't it? Not a piano.
It is. Yeah.
So
Totally.
so in theory, you could just put 2 cellos on it, or a cello and a viola.
Yeah.
Well, that's no fun.
But
you're very right.
yeah, but I do see it like that all the time in piano music, so
But if it was
It's
in
not
piano,
uncommon.
you just grow a third hand, obviously.
obviously
Very clearly.
that's
Just
how
right
you play
either
piano.
behind your chin or coming out at your stomach, your chest. I don't know, somewhere.
It comes
Yeah.
out of your eyes.
Oh,
goodness me.
that's the worst.
That was a secret option C that I
It's just
never wanted to think about. Holy.
nope.
Just the visual of someone playing piano with arms coming
With
out of
their
their
eyes.
eyes.
The
I-
visual, among other things.
I don't like
Sight
it.
reading. Oh.
Yes. Yeah. How do you see what you're playing? You just all go by feel.
You feel it. Yeah,
No,
you feel
the music is
rhythm.
in Braille. That's why you have one hand from
Music
each
is
side,
in
because the third
Braille.
hand-
Oh god.
That's right. The third hand is to play the complex moment,
Hmm.
and then the fourth hand from your other eye is to read the Braille.
Makes absolute
Course.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah,
That would there'd be a bit of a delay too, because like you're reading ahead and you're like playing.
precisely.
Ugh.
Hmm.
Cursed images. Top 10 cursed images.
Don't want to think about that anymore. Someone change the subject.
Yeah. Well, I guess I don't. I know you guys only did one piece, but we could also go to my other one because it's a completely different ship tone.
Sure,
If
sure.
you're
And after
interested.
that, I'd love to share something I'm working on right now because
Yes.
I'm
Absolutely.
hang on, my Sibelius startup is deafening me. Ow. Anyway, yeah, because it's so like I'm in composition lessons again this semester, and I told my teacher like I want to get better at chords. So he told me that like he wants me to write a melody, and then before I even start orchestrating, I have to like assign chords to it. So right now it's just an oboe part and chords, and I'm just like it's different. It's hard, but I
Yeah.
think it's coming along because like I'm being challenged to use completely different chords. But Ryan, do you want to show yours first? Or do you want me to show mine?
I don't know. Do you have a preference? I'm fine either way.
I guess we could just rotate through it. So I'll just show
Yeah,
mine.
yeah. You go for it first. I've
That's
been
fine.
taking up time on my
Okay, let's see here.
stuff.
This will be so very useful if we do this again, and I have access to show you guys my stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, we totally need to do this again. Like
We do.
absolutely, it's mandatory.
I am in favor of
Required.
making it almost semi-regular. I could say.
I'd be so down for that.
Same. I mean,
Um,
collaboration is the spirit of creation. It's so important to go outside of yourself. I think,
yeah.
at least as is.
All right,
Ooh,
can you guys see it?
yes.
Yeah.
I
You hear that?
can hear it.
Mhm.
Yes.
So I added a little intro, but then after that, the oboe and the piano is like what I was doing for school.
Okay.
Here we go.
Piano.
Mm-hmm.
Finished that yet? So from that part alone, chord master, what do you think of the chords?
Ryan, she's definitely talking to you because chord master ain't this good.
Oh, I don't know about that. I like them. I like the flow of it for sure.
Oh, that was
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
I really do. There was one that caught me off guard. I think it was.
I think it was the yeah.
19?
It was like the sudden minor shift.
Oh wait, hang on. Let me
Maybe it
no, that's not what I
was
wanted.
18.
Let me 18. Okay, sure. Wait, hang on.
Yeah, where are those?
Oh, here we
Where are
go.
those measure numbers, Miss?
Yeah, no, I
Uh-oh.
got yelled at again.
Oh my goodness.
There we go. Okay. Here.
You can play
just
from
listen to the
yeah.
We wanted to
from
do
where?
from 16.
16? Okay,
Yeah.
sure. 16. I'll just do 15.
Yeah, that's fine. No?
That.
Hmm.
Wait. Which measure was it?
Oh gosh, the stream it's got just a subtle lag, and my sight reading is very poor. Ryan, was it the same moment that you were thinking, or are we talking about?
I think I was thinking of a different one actually, but I don't remember what it was. I think it was a measure 20. What you were saying though.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it was. Was it
This
that
part?
third beat of measure 20?
That part?
It is that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hmm.
That. So what chord is that? So it's going up from an E and then it's shifting
It's
up
like
to it. Is that an F natural?
It's an F sharp.
Sharp.
So that's an F sharp major?
Let's see.
Minor. F sharp minor.
F sharp minor.
F sharp minor.
Yeah.
Yeah, so shifting up, shifting. I almost expect. I almost expect it to be a B7 there after with how the leading is coming from the melody line.
Okay, so B7. The bass note for proper lead in. So B7, that's B, D, F sharp. This could stay in F sharp. So B. If we lower this down an octave. Is that correct? Is that a B?
That looks.
Not sure about that.
Nope, that's super wrong. I'm trying to do it off of memory, but that's always it's going for.
So right, it goes from an E. We put a D in the bass. That might increase the distance between.
That. What was that?
This right here? It's another
Who's
B7,
it?
but this time with a D in the bass.
It's not B7. I'm trying to because I'm playing it in front of the floating keyboard that exists in my mind. Is it an A7th maybe?
A7. That would make sense due to the A. So let's
Well,
see.
yeah, but it is going into A.
Right.
So the bass line
Could
could
stay
technically
A.
be an E
Yes.
again.
Yep.
That there. Let's try that. What does that sound like? Nope, that's not right. This is hard.
Yeah, with the A for the bass note. I think that.
Interesting. What about an A? What about an A minor? What would an A minor chord sound like?
Let's do it.
Oh.
We're getting
So
experimental here.
unexpected. I'm ready for it.
Oh.
It's very colorful.
Holy cow.
It is.
We double.
Oh
the
no.
This is gonna be horrible. Stop it! No.
There you go. Oh.
Oh, I love it.
That is.
Says the master of dissonance.
Oh,
Yeah.
That is a strong A minor out of nowhere.
I feel like the
Turning heads.
A is like what you would expect it to do, but the problem is that it almost feels too definite for something that isn't quite done.
Oh, it's not. Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
resolved. Absolutely. Well, because
It's not
the
fully
seventh,
resolving.
right,
Oh,
right there, the
seventh
A7th.
was that.
Well, no, but the problem that it would worsen if you did the seventh is it would lead you back to the root note, which it doesn't go to. So it would set you up for something that it then doesn't do. So it would be just as unexpected.
Got it. What's another chord that could be tried there?
Gosh, I would need to.
Hang on. Yeah, I need to fiddle with my piano here.
And so here's actually something that would be super interesting for me. I could even strip away the melody line and just play the chords in progression, and then is there a way for no?
I can do that. I can mute the oboe and just hear the chords.
But then, well, so the problem with that is that I'm telling you to do it, and then I'm not going to be any help once you've done it.
But still, I'm just curious what that would sound like, the chord progression.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Oh,
Actually, like that, my issue isn't that one. My issue is the B chord. It sounds kind of odd.
Right. Exactly. Which is so strange because it didn't before.
That's so weird. Wait, that B chord does not sound right.
I think it's because the voicing that the melody provides gives it a different sense, so it doesn't feel like an exact beat. But then once it's stripped away, we're getting a different voicing.
Huh. Interesting. I'm just gonna flag this just in case. Take a look at it later.
Right.
B question mark. It's good now.
I hope you turn it in like that. That is,
Yeah.
gosh, would be fantastic.
But yeah, I definitely would not have taken that chord approach without thy advice. So thank you, chord master.
I reject the title, but you're welcome.
And then from here on, this is what I tried yesterday, and it was a kind of messy
Ooh.
attempt at writing a melody and a counter melody, and then assigning
Yes.
chords to it. And I honestly don't think it went very well. But if you guys would like, you can listen to it.
Yes,
shall be
let's
the judge
do
of
it.
It starts after measure 28. Yeah, and now you see what happens when I try to do chords. They're
For
my
all-
Achilles heel.
I don't know about that. For all the criticism you're giving yourself, I actually thought it was pretty lovely.
Yeah. I love the motion.
Right, yeah, like
Thank you.
the gentle scales beneath, just a very consistent half notes on the chords. That was really good.
So the chords at the moment are kind of an outline. Like eventually, the chords are going to be split across probably an entire string section
Sure.
and maybe a low wind section. But yeah, this is just me learning how to do harmony in a more complicated way and expand my chord knowledge. And I'm glad it's working.
I absolutely would say that it is.
Yeah.
You said,
Aw.
is this for a class?
Yes and no. So I take private composition lessons in school, and but it's at the point where I can kind of pick my own curriculum. So this is actually eventually going to be for race car bed, but at the same time, I'm using it as an assignment to learn.
Nice.
Killing two birds with one stone.
Yeah,
So I'm like,
it's perfect.
so I've been working on a couple different tracks for race car bed, while also running them past teachers to learn about chords.
Perfect. Taking full advantage.
But like I don't know if you guys could tell, but I felt so much more in a comfort zone writing this pizzicato part than I did writing the chords. Like this took me probably like 5 minutes to write, maybe 10. But like reading the chords, I'm just like theory.
Oh my
Okay,
gosh.
then we're gonna try and inverse this.
Yeah.
But also the melody didn't take me long at all either. Let's
That
take
is-
another look at that pizzicato.
Yeah. I like this first pizzicato section. It's very, very playful.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
And here's something I noticed, like right here, where I did the arpeggiation, I was working with chords and not even really noticing it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Look at those.
That's exactly right.
That's a chord.
The chords were within you the whole time.
Character development.
You had the power.
Yay.
Fantastic.
Transitions.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I've been working on
That's awesome.
these days.
Nice.
And also working on other race car bed stuff to decide, no, I do not want to save this. I can remember what chords I question marked. Yes. Thank you.
My question is,
Cool.
in the piece, do you ever intend to return to the pizzicato? Because I love that it serves as the intro. Okay, all right. I wanted it to show up again because it's so fun and how you bring in the other instruments. But I want to see the pizzicato. How, especially if the two were to overlay, how you get the beginning and it's very light and whimsical, and then it becomes very straight and very melodic. But I think bringing back in not even maybe even in like the occasional eighth note here or there would just add a lot more.
Yeah, that's actually my plan. So the pizzicato is going to continue throughout the piece to some extent or another, and then once we get to the like ending, because like right now I wrote the melody up through the almost ending, it's going to go back to a fully pizzicato section that starts full, gets empty, and ends on a final single violin to loop perfectly.
Oh.
Nice.
Well, okay, yeah. So what? I'm telling the master how to do it. What's the point of that?
No, you're the master too. Be quiet.
I think everybody's got different realms of expertise.
Yeah.
That's how I would frame this conversation.
I think so.
We're all the masters
Which
of
is-
our own music destiny.
Which is
There you
great.
go.
Yeah.
Music destiny.
Yeah.
It's pronounced musistini.
Musistini.
It is. No, you're not supposed to. The accent is not on the second syllable. That was
right.
I'm surprised at you with being part of the industry that you didn't get that right.
Damn. Shots
Ryan,
fired.
Did you want to share your other one?
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
It's literally just gonna be VLC. Wow.
Was you?
All right. Sure. You guys can hear this, right?
Oh, I gotta connect.
As do I.
Try again.
Oh.
Yeah, I can hear it.
Okay. Oh. Why are you pausing? 1 sec. Hang on. Let me. I think that was on the network. 1 second.
Okay.
Oh, that was slow.
So Jay, you mentioned do you like Over the Garden Wall? Do you make it a tradition to watch it every fall?
That is well, okay. So I don't want to come off as though I'm just going with what the world tells me to do. I watched it very, very soon after it had come out, and I've loved it ever since. But then, when the world comes along, that's a great idea. Like, it's the perfect fall thing to watch, and your heart just leaps at the opportunity. Yes, I watch it every fall, was the short answer.
It's my tradition now because I know it basically by heart, so I don't have to always look at the screen. I always have it playing in the background when I bake with pumpkin.
Oh, it's so wonderful. It's
Potatoes and molasses.
Oh, fantastic.
Wait, have you?
Oh, go
what? Oh,
no,
wait,
no,
you go for it. No, you go for it.
I got the last one. I got the last.
Okay, fine. Have you done an in-depth analysis of the music that plays in chapter 10 from the part where the beast starts singing to the ending music?
Yes, I have. It is.
It's so good.
It's thrilling. It's chilling. It's genius. It's
It's
more
use
than
of
you.
motif. It's use of the music box. It's use of dissonance. It's use of the Latin and the
I was gonna say the Latin. The Latin is what gets you, because you're listening to it the first. You're just watching the episode, and you're like, "Oh, this is okay, little child voice. I get it, whatever." And then you actually look at it, and you're scratching your head with how somebody envisioned this, taking something that was so innocent and childlike and incorporating it with the darkness and the depth and the somberness that is the beast as a type and as a character, and then incorporating those two in the same song. Oh,
and just I'm speechless right now. And it gets even darker if you listen to the English part before the Latin, like the Latin
of
potato
course.
molasses.
Come Way
Like,
Where It
that's-
Souls is
Yeah.
truly beautiful and depressing and heart wrenching.
And I think the "Come Where It Souls" is great, but it's the high part. It's Greg's voice that really
Yeah.
drives it home. Like,
Absolutely.
the words are glorious. And the funny thing is, like, it's been mentioned before that Greg's actor is not the best singer, but not in a bad way, but in a realistic, childlike, innocent way.
Which is
But-
what you want. It feeds so
Exactly.
well in contrasting the operatic voice actor of the beast.
Yeah, and so it's like it's even though the high notes aren't held perfectly, that's what makes it feel even more real, even more painful to watch.
Well, because you know that you're listening to an untrained child instead of some choir boy that they had to fly in from London or something. I don't know. Where did they get choir boys these days?
Everywhere.
Where do they have choir boys? Everywhere. I am in fact a choir boy.
I'm pretty sure we all are. All right, Ryan, you ready, man? That was a fantastic moment geeking out.
That was a fantastic moment.
Video game or not, it is a soundtrack worthy of.
Yeah, all right. I need to.
Oh yeah.
I need to watch it.
You need to watch it now.
You haven't seen? Oh, you.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so sorry.
You need to watch it, and that's a rock fact.
Rock fact. Oh my gosh. Okay, I wish I could show you. I have my little sister and I. We watched a lot of cartoons together. There were some skipstones in the backyard at our old place. She grabbed 2 of them because we loved the show. She painted them both by hand, so we both have rock fact rock.
Yes.
And I take it with me wherever.
For real? That's glorious.
Well, not like in my pocket, just like in my domicile of present. All right, Ryan, you're
all right.
Okay.
You're up for
at long last. Yeah.
No worries.
Is this
Good
opera?
segue.
Is this the most premier contrast with opera singer and child voice actor? Do it.
Do it.
It's pretty different.
Oh, you definitely love dissonance. I can see what you're doing. Yeah.
Goodness me.
Yeah.
There it is. Yep, I knew it. I knew you weren't going to give us the resolution right there. I just wondered how you were going to take it.
You guessed correctly.
No classical composer is ever going to give you resolution after the first walk. Come on.
I loved that dissonant chromaticism to that E flat resolution. That was really cool. Did you quantize the E flats, or did you quantize some and not quantize others?
No, I didn't really quantize anything.
Got it.
Yeah.
And there it was. Oh, not done. No third. You robbed us.
No third.
That's horrifying. It's a major for all we know. Come on.
You will never know now.
It's really interesting how sometimes it feels like it fluctuates between B flat major and B flat minor, and sometimes it just does something completely different. It's like a mix of formed and formless, like dreams.
It's very dreamy.
Dream.
Yeah.
dreamlike piece for a dreamlike setting.
Yeah. So that one, obviously, I was going for something totally different.
Hmm.
Oh my god, that wasn't supposed to be frogs as well. What?
No.
Surprises
Yeah,
me.
I know.
It's a tomato.
Yeah, it's a tomato song.
As
Clearly.
is immediately obvious. Naturally.
Yeah.
That's the nightmare that Detective Blob has.
uh, yes. Yeah.
But the only thing I would say, like listening to it like straight up without having it be in the background of a video game, is the E flats. As even though I know exactly what you're going for there with having that continue throughout, did
Mhm.
eventually get a little bit too much, and I'm almost wondering
Yeah.
if even varying it up a little bit, like putting it up the octave, putting it down the octave,
Yeah.
like even for one measure, and then going back, what that would do to the ear, because it's like, oh, it's up now, oh no, it's back.
Definitely.
Right.
And I did have that thought after we had finished it again as well, where I was like, I probably would have changed some of those, or in the middle section where I'm between where it's just the E flats, between them, I probably would have taken out like at least two of those measures because I don't need another four measures of just it. Um, but yeah, I do get that for sure.
And then.
And the tempo is a little fluctuating.
I like it. I like it so much that I almost don't want to. So the only you give, is it 4 or is it I don't know how many measures you're doing for the lead in before you come with the melody line.
It's 4.
I almost wanted it to be. Is it 4? Okay, I almost wanted it to be halved, just because it's so rhythmic. It sets itself up very quickly after you've heard it the 2 times, and I think coming in a little bit earlier wouldn't be a problem.
Yeah.
And then how did you record this? Did you just like what program?
I put it into the audio workstation I was testing out. So this was a MIDI capture off of my keyboard.
Okay. Oh, so this is pure keyboard. Did you record the left hand first and then loop it?
Or did you play it straight? Because I feel like sometimes it felt quantized and sometimes it felt like off. And I'm wondering, did you like play it with a metronome all the way through, but sometimes vary up the sync a little bit?
No, I did.
No.
Well, I forget which parts. I definitely did copy paste some parts. And I think the left hand, maybe I did quantize some of it and then forgot to do the rest or something. I don't remember exactly, honestly. It was all still in the midst of trying to learn this program as well, so it was very
it's difficult to remember what things you were like making intentional controlling moves with and what pieces.
Yeah, definitely. So listening to it, I was like, it doesn't sound quite right, but I don't know if it's needs to be shifted or something.
Right.
Yeah. So it could definitely be cleaned up. That's no doubt.
And with how rhythmic the left hand is throughout, there are moments where the melody line gets more complex, and then the two are almost competing. So I might even back off to just doing quarters, or even quarter rest for the left hand in the moments where the melody line is more intricate.
That would be good. It'd be like
Makes
dissonance
sense.
from the resonance without causing constant clashing. It's like a combination of both.
Right.
But because it's so constant, your mind is still going to fill in that bass line, and so you're still going to hear the dissonance even though it's not actually being played.
Yeah, that makes sense. And because it is very reverby, or it'll still partially be there anyways. So.
And I mean, shoot, dude, this is all just suggestion. It's
yeah.
all right. So there's no particular necessarily correct answer. It's just one person's.
Yeah, true.
One person's approach.
I feel like I was, again, going classical off of it, but I was thinking of the, is it the Raindrop Prelude by Chopin? Because it has that like constant rhythm.
It's pronounced Chopin.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, Mr. Chopin.
Or is it Chopin? It's difficult to know. He's been dead so long.
Yeah. You don't get to hear him say it anymore.
Right. Pretty sure it's Chopin, but that's just the guy who speaks French. So.
Yeah.
Shopping.
Shopping.
That's right. Like you're chopping vegetables.
Chopping tomatoes.
Yeah, there you go.
There it is, full circle.
Like a tomato.
Oh gosh.
But sorry, you were talking about the Raindrop Prelude by Chopin.
Yeah, that guy. It's a similar thing where it's, it has like a constant rhythm throughout the whole piece, and then, the same sort of thing where at the end that just cuts out, and it's just the like hard half note to quarter note sort of walk down, where it's very, your brain just gets used to the constant rhythm, so when it drops out, it just like feels so empty, and I like that.
Yeah. Gosh, yes. I am extremely glad that that you are much more integral to our team on the coding side of things, because if you were not, I would be out of a job.
I don't know about that.
I think we can clearly say that. If you told me write a melody for frogs, I got nothing. Dreams, all right, I'm there. For frogs, give me a month.
In Frogland.
In Frogland.
Precisely.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, actually, I don't remember. I started writing that piece, I think, before we had decided on the game that we were making.
And it just happened to work for frogs?
I think so. I'm sure it sort of, I think it colored it like more once, because it's obviously, I wasn't done with it by the time we decided. So
Sure.
it definitely colored the rest of it. And I probably only wrote like the first 4 maybe measures. Probably really just like the first 2. But so, it just became Frog-like.
Heck,
But yeah, I
Alright,
did choose accordion and cello beforehand for some reason. Couldn't tell you why.
I was going to interject. We are coming up on 2 hours here, and I have not
We
eaten
are.
dinner, so I think I am about ready.
I think, yeah, this was a
Pop
good
off.
chat.
This was a
Well, it was
wonderful
fantastic.
chat.
It was.
Yeah.
Sasha,
Yeah.
it was so great to meet you. I am so
It
excited.
was so great to meet you too. I'm so excited to get to know you and your musical stylings better.
Yeah.
It's
Oh, I
gonna be
love
good.
bringing people
It's gonna be really
together.
good.
And
Heck yes,
DM me
man.
about Over the Garden Wall so we can like geek out about
Geek
it.
out
I'm
together.
very interested to
Yeah.
hear more about other cartoons you and your younger sister have seen.
The list is fairly extensive, so it's a long
Oh,
conversation.
Perfect.
I bet it's not as extensive as the cartoons I've seen. I've seen like
I don't know about that. We might run each other through our pieces. Anyway.
But yeah,
in terms of making this a more regular thing, I would say at least once a month.
yeah.
Sure.
not
Even if
more
it's just like catching up on stuff we've composed for our separate
Right.
games and just like sharing and discussing it.
Yeah, definitely. I think that would be
Wonderful.
awesome. We've had Manly Manton here for pretty much the whole time, just listening in. I don't know if you wanted to say anything.
Yeah,
or if you're
Anton,
just-
are you here, or did you just pop on the Discord and mute yourself and walk away?
I know Fish has a show that he's playing, so he may be occupied there because Anton was going to that. Yeah, I think he's dead. So
He's dead.
Must be.
Just gotta cut our losses.
Indeed, we do.
But
Cut our Anton.
If you guys want to stick around for like 1 second before ending the after ending the Twitch stream, I have a question for you, but it probably shouldn't be on Twitch stream.
Right.
Oh boy! All right.
It's not creepy,
Well,
I swear. No, it's not like that.
You
Fair
set
enough.
yourself up. There's few places to mind.
Yeah. Let your mind wander, Twitch chat.
Or not.
We will disband for now, and
I'm
yeah.
gonna buy some Girl Scout cookies.
Oh no. But yeah, we'll definitely do this again sometime. So keep an eye out for the next notification.
And Fred, as usual, thank you so much for sticking around for as long as you did. You're an absolute legend. And you said someone say tomato. We said it like 3 times, but just for you, my man,
Yeah.
tomato.
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 Oh,
Tomato. No,
oh,
there's
got a
No.
message.
tomato.
And so okay, there's the sophisticated way and there's the unsophisticated way. There's chopping tomato and Chopin tomato.
Oh,
They're beautiful.
oh, it's too fancy.
The Chopin tomato suite.
You're
Oh,
like that might even be the. Is that the title of some indie television show out there? Le Chopin tomato.
That'd probably just be the French dub of VeggieTales.
Oh gosh, it is. Oh no.
oh man.
Fred says, "Yay! Glad we could make your day,
Yay.
Fred."
Thanks. Yeah, thanks for tuning in and staying through the whole thing, Fred.
I hope this was educational and informative.
Yeah,
Or at a bare minimum, ridiculous.
Yeah, true.
yeah. And we got a message from Manton. He said, "I'm here. Great talk. I mean, I'm dead. Sad, dead face." So, I don't know what that
Great job
means, but
At texting when dead.
I
I give him
he's
props for that.
skilled, I guess. Yeah. I don't
He's-
know
Well, we knew
how
that
he's
going
doing
in.
that.
He's texting from beyond the grave.
Beyond the grave.
Indeed.
Beyond the Manton.
Beyond the
Be-
Manton.
Beyond the mantle. He's in the chimney now.
Oh,
Santa Claus.
it's the wrong
You are
season
full
for
of
that.
Nuh-uh.
It's October. It's October 1st. We haven't even gotten through the spooky
Thanksgiving.
season.
Haven't even gotten through Halloween.
Yeah.
Let alone Thanksgiving. Let
Yeah.
alone, well, I mean, there's some
Thanksgiving,
some schools of thought
Christmas,
that'll
kind
tell
of.
ya, like past July, you're pretty much clear to play Christmas music. In some
Past
circles,
July.
Not mine. I'm just saying.
I'm actually totally
Uh-huh.
joking. I'm one of the strict people who's like, Christmas music does not come out until after Thanksgiving.
Yep. And Black Friday,
Yeah.
do it. You know, have at it. But before then, you're dead to me. It is
Pretty
October.
much.
Respectable. Oh, yeah. It's October 2nd for Fred, so
East Coast.
even more
Must be.
reason. Yeah. I think
It's-
you're East Coast.
It's Christmas for only Fred.
Fred will be in Christmas
so
before
that's what
any
all
of
the tomato-
us.
That's what tomato was all about. Was really just some Christmas presents. Go team.
Indeed.
Spirit of giving.
Yeah.
The Christmas colors of the tomato. The tomato is
Ooh.
is truly the most festive fruit.
It really is.
Drawing some real profound connections here
Indeed.
at Box of Mushroom Games.
And on that note, I think we will
Adieu.
adieu.
Goodbye,
And
Twitch.
Talk to
Bye,
you the next time. Bye, everyone.
Hooray. Bye, y'all.